book was the Worldschoolers book, where she wrote a chapter called Kindergarten at Sea. Kara, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
I am a 44-year-old mother of a 6-year-old and a 22-year-old and almost 20-year-old. So just starting life over, I guess. Solo mom, and picture it's just Michaela. So it's a little bit different from being a sole mom, where you have to deal with another parent. So custody is 100% mine. And then I travel, and I love to analyze things. I love to write, but most importantly, I just love to travel and learn. And my daughter actually loves doing it too. My sons do also, but they're young adults, so they're doing their own
It's
thing.
different.
I did what I could to teach them how to navigate the airport, stuff like that. As you know, we I was divorced from their father, and did a little bit of that custody sharing, visiting and stuff like that. So I've had that experience. I did my best to teach them how to navigate the world. But I just really enjoy sharing my solo travels. I love traveling the world. Tired of waiting for other people to go with me, or me,
know,
that
right?
it wasn't a good idea
They
because
never
I'm
go.
a woman and I shouldn't travel by myself, right? And from my experiences, I just love sharing that and helping other people do the same. They want to get out there and they want to experience life. They want to travel and see the world, and they just have been told that they shouldn't from various sources, whether it's media or society or their parents, whatever. So I just want to help them do the same, and especially if they are a parent. So you can travel as a solo parent with your children, or what's even better, kind of, are those solo trips where you get to leave your child behind with someone you trust with your life, right?
Yes, that's like the holy grail. That's the holy grail of travel.
And you get to
Charlie,
go, yay!
I told you earlier, Charlie is doing that right now. And I was like, stay in Mexico City. Because if it were me, I would stay. Stay, enjoy, watch TV, go to sleep early, do whatever you want. That's the holy grail. So I have some questions for you to dive a little bit more into some of the things you talk about. You have a 5-year plan. One of the reasons I really liked your chapter in Worldschoolers is because you're not full on world schooling yet. You're still in the preparation phase. And I think that you gave a lot of information, and you give a lot of information on social media about how you're preparing to travel and work online. So can you tell people what your 5-year plan is, where you're at in it, if it's working?
So I consider myself a world schooler, even though I am not traveling full time.
Of course.
There's various phases in it. That's the way that I say. That's the way that I understood it when I learned about it 6 years ago when I was pregnant with Michaela. But my preparation to become a full-time traveler, full-time nomadic, is because I don't want to just be, well, I don't know. Maybe if I go someplace that I really love, I might want to stay for a year or 2 or 5. You never know. But right now, I intend to be, travel place to place to place, maybe go back somewhere. You never know. But the 5-year plan was like during Christmas of 2019. Was it 2018, 2019? January of 25 was my goal. So Christmas of 2019, just before the pandemic hit, I had all these grand plans, like everybody else.
But what's in your 5-year plan? Like, what do you actually do to prepare?
So I was thinking about a vision board and things like that. And for some reason, what popped in my head was the 5-year question. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yes.
Right? And everybody gives some BS answer,
Right.
Yeah, there's a little bit of truth to it, but for the most part, people are just like, nah, I don't know this, right? Career rise. It's usually like in a job interview or something. Or like if you're dating someone and you're, speed date. So where do you see yourself in 5 years,
It is a
So
cheesy
I decided to have an answer, right? And I did a little playing with all the different categories like finances, love, family, career, travel, stuff like that. What do I want to be doing with my life in 5 years? Where do I see myself? But the key part was when I looked at my current income versus my debt, I played with the numbers and I was like, you know what? I can be 100% debt free in 5 years.
Wow.
I think this can work. Because it's really difficult to have that stress of debt,
Yes,
of this financial
absolutely.
responsibility while you're trying to travel. And if you don't have like a permanent remote job, or for me, I would have to be, it's just me, right?
Right.
And I need to teach my daughter somehow. And how am I going to do that if I'm working on a computer for 8 hours a day answering to someone else?
100%.
But if there's a lot of people who do a lot of remote work and they have their balanced life where they can work for a few hours every day and they make the income that they want. So my goal is to pay off my debt and save as much money as possible to where I can work just a few hours a week to help supplement the income that I'm able to save up. Working with the financial advisor and all that. I've also been building up my side hustles. I'm wearing my
your
travel
side hustles. I love that you have
shirt.
more than one. The Travel Coach Network. We're going to talk about that too. I have that here too because give me 1 second to ask you something else, but I want to find out what you're doing and how you're helping people. So your daughter is currently in a physical school. Mine is too. I don't know if I'm leaning towards a no in doing it next year, but we already bought the uniforms and the books this year, so.
I mean, you could sell them.
Not really. Well, I guess I could resell the uniforms, but is that worth it? So what's your experience with her in a traditional school, and why do you think world schooling is going to be better for her?
So, I also have my 2 sons who also went through traditional school. But specifically with Michaela, so far she is August, September, October, November, December, 4 months into public school of kindergarten. But being a solo mom and working a full-time job on site, she has been in daycare and school her entire life, with the exception of some months during the pandemic where nobody could go to school, right?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Which was really hard because I had to work for 8 hours a day from my computer. And we had to be creative because we can't really do our job from home. But anyway, to try to take care of my 3-year-old while working was so hard. Oh my gosh. So anyway, public school, what I like is it teaches her not to conform. That's something that she's very wild and has a hard time conforming, right? But it's important that she learns to be respectful. It's important that she learns to do things she doesn't necessarily want to do, but I'm sorry, we have to do that right now.
So important.
It's just like if you're going to a doctor's appointment and she's sitting there coloring, working on an activity or a craft or watching a movie or whatever. And like, I'm sorry, you need to put that away because we have to be at the doctor's office in 10 minutes.
Right.
Or whatever. We have to leave now. So, it's those kinds of things that transfer over into life, however you want to live it. If you're going to go to the doctor's office, you have to be there at a specific time or whatever appointment you might have. And a lot of times, I don't feel like cooking dinner, but my child has to eat more than just, snack foods 24/7, right? I'm supposed to feed her like food, I guess. So I have to cook even when I don't want to. So, it's those kind of life skills that she's still building. Also, conveniently, they are teaching her to read for me. So I don't have to go through
that the best? Yes, when you oh my gosh, when my daughter came to read, I was like, I could do more with her now. I did not want to go through that.
Yeah.
Spanish.
So I do like that aspect. Also, the public school offers specific resources.
Mm-hmm.
So she's had some behavioral issues where she just was being disrespectful, and we're trying to find ways to help her learn. Look, I understand this is not what you want to do right now,
Right.
but you have to put your coloring away so that you can go to PE, or you have to put your coloring away because it's time for lunch, or you have to clean up whatever activity. And she just didn't. And so we got the school counselor and some other things, tried a therapist, but the therapist said that she didn't really see any problems, that we were handling it just fine, she thought. And Michaela has progressed, and I think a lot of it was just she was just really testing those boundaries. So public school, for me, number one, it's taking care of my daughter so that I can work and finish our financial goals with what I have available already. And number two, they're teaching her to read. They're teaching her all these things. They're opening a world of knowledge to her as is. And then I want to build on that outside of those four walls.
They're giving her like a base.
Yeah, so she learned, like in preschool. She learned they did like this atlas thing where they, the folders with the brads inside,
Mm-hmm.
and they would do different countries every week. And her favorite was Egypt. Oh my goodness, she loved Egypt. And then I've been watching a documentary this past week on Egypt, and she walked in while I was watching it. She's like, "Oh, Egypt." So I was like,
I'm fascinated
Mom,
by
can we
Egypt
go?
too, so
She's asked me to go to Egypt, and she's like, Mom, when we get on a plane, where are we going next? And I was like, well, I was kind of thinking about going back to Scotland, but I want to take you with me. And she said, well, after Scotland, can we go to Egypt? And I was like, yes.
Why not?
And that is why I want to world school my daughter.
That is awesome.
That right there, because she wants to travel. It's as much in her heart as it is in mine. And I am so blessed to have someone like that in my life, my little travel buddy, my little travel partner. So, and she loves learning and she absorbs it. And so for right now, this is what we have to do to meet specific goals. And really, it's only, it's about 2 years, maybe. I might be a little bit ahead of the game. As long as I stick to the plan. I got a little off, but I'm coming back on financially. So, it's only for a couple more years, and she'll be 8 or 9. Oh, that's such a great age where she can read. And, if she needs to fight somebody off, she'll be a little more aggressive. She'll be a little stronger. I hope she'll weigh more because she doesn't gain weight.
She's like exactly like my daughter. It's exactly like her.
Yeah.
I had all the meetings with the teachers, and the teachers would tell me she does whatever she wants, but with me she listens, but with all the other teachers, no. And she really knew who she could get away with.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Absolutely play that game.
So you're I don't like to say single mom because you're a solo mom, right? Look,
Yeah.
Speaking of the devil, here she comes. She hears me talking about her. You want to say hi? Say hi.
Hi.
So you're a solo mom. You're kind of like a solo mom by choice, right? You've always been just you and her. What are the challenges that you find either traveling with her or getting that holy grail, getting that trip by yourself?
So I've traveled with her since she was an infant.
Mm-hmm.
And, when they're an infant, you got the diaper bags and the bottles and the everything. You got like 5 outfits per day because that's
They
what
stood
babies
up.
go through, literally, right? So you have all the stuff. You have to deal with the child, especially when they're an infant, like you just kind of wear them and, or stroller them, whatever. But when they're a toddler, it's a little more challenging.
Oh,
right?
toddler's the worst on a plane. That is the worst. Babies are easy. Toddlers
Yes.
are not.
They're so difficult. But let me tell you something about people.
Mm-hmm.
People are really kind. People want to help.
They do.
I mean, I don't say, here, watch my bags while I go to the bathroom in the airport. I don't do that. But what I mean is like when I've got my toddler and I'm trying to get the stroller wrapped up and I'm trying to get everything together so we can get in line to show our, our passes and then get on the plane. People are really helpful with here. How can I help you? Can I zip that for you?
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, corralling Michaela for me while I'm trying to get stuff together to keep her from running off. So people are just really kind and people just really want to help, and letting them help me realize that the world is safer than some of the media portrays, and that you just have to really just trust your gut instinct. If your gut instinct says, oh no, don't let that person touch your stuff, then just say, no, thank you, I got it. Right. But, if you're like feeling okay about it, then, let them help you, because then that makes them feel good too, because they want to help and be kind and show a kindness, and you allowing them to do that, so it's like a double win. So that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned in my travels these past 6 years. Well, even with my sons when I traveled with them when they were little, but specifically with her, it's that, it's challenging. You got to try to figure out how to maneuver all the stuff, or even, going on road trips.
Yeah.
Google Maps says it's 8 hours, but you know what? It's actually 12.
It's never 8 hours. It's never what it says.
Because we got to stop. She's got to run around. She's got to pee. She's got to eat. Oh my God, she's got to eat. Are you done eating yet? Can you?
I want to ask you.
Let
me tell my daughter, Sophia, can you please go back and stop shooting the gun? Thank you. I want to find out about the travel coaching, because a lot of people are confused about what a travel coach is. They're like, are you a travel agent? What is a travel coach, and what is a solo travel coach? How are you helping people?
Okay, so I am a travel agent / advisor.
Mm-hmm.
That's one job. I am also a travel coach. And then my niche for being a travel coach is solo travel, whether that's just an individual person, whether they're a 21-year-old woman or a 43-year-old man recently divorced, doesn't matter.
Okay.
But also solo parents who want to travel with their kids or leave their kids behind so they can go on a break. Whatever solo adventure that might be. So the difference between coaching and being an advisor or an agent is a travel agent or advisor says, so you want to go to Disney World? Okay. How many people are going? What are their ages? What is your budget? These are the hotels I recommend. Would you like to stay on the resort, or do you want a hotel? This is how you get back and forth. Booked it. Okay, great. Your trip is coming up in 3 months. Are you ready? Blah, 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 blah. Make sure you pack these things. Okay, your flight is next week. Do you have all your stuff together?
I think a really helpful travel agent. I've never had a travel agent so helpful.
And then, so then it's like, oh my God, my flight was delayed, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I got it. I'll help you out. I call, handle everything for them. That's being a travel agent. Mm-hmm. And when their trip is over, thank you for using me, blah, blah, blah. The end. Being a travel coach is more like using a travel experience to help a person grow.
Okay. So are you still booking for them? Are you recommending experiences?
I can, if they want. So for me, okay, so travel coaching is just helping people travel and use those, like if they want to do sustainable travel, help them find ways to make a positive impact on the environment or culture. They want to learn about
like
culture.
Volunteering and things like that.
There's other people who do wellness, help people with their spirituality or whatever. So then with the solo travel, for example, a 21-year-old woman wants to travel by herself. She's apprehensive because she gets catcalled, even though she dresses modernly. She dresses respectfully. She respects herself and wears, things. I hate that people say, well, what was she wearing? It doesn't matter. You shouldn't do that, right? So helping her feel comfortable and confident. So what I do is I'll walk them through a 3-month program where they go through some inner work, they do some journaling. For example, why was it so difficult for me to answer a question in a group chat? I felt judged, stuff like that. So helping them
Right.
overcome things like that. And then, but if I go out to dinner by myself, people will think that, oh, that poor girl, she doesn't have a date, whatever, like, screw them. Who cares?
People
Order
don't even
dessert.
care. They're people
Yeah.
are thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you. But yeah, I know people who will not go out to eat by themselves.
Yes, because they're afraid of the judgment of other people. So I help them overcome that, and they practice going out and doing things by themselves. Like, go to the grocery store and buy yourself a bouquet of flowers.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you're going to buy. And leave and come home and set it up and make it pretty and sit there and look at it. Right. Help them do solo things that they also stuff that they address, or like, I'm afraid of doing this or afraid of doing that. And then I encourage them to take a solo trip, whether it's driving to the next town over, like an hour away, you stay at a hotel, just kind of inch them away. And there's one particular client of mine, she really enjoyed going to Germany.
Oh,
and
cool.
she was planning another trip. She's actually there right now. So, and she's visiting friends there, but the route there, and then she's also going to spend some time by herself, so having her go out, be comfortable with communicating with the locals, stuff like that. So, I offer, especially when they're traveling, call me anytime. Never be afraid to call me.
Oh, that's so nice.
So, because I don't want them to be scared and alone when they're out there by
In a foreign
themselves.
country.
Yeah. So anyway, so I use those things, and then through the travel, I'll check in with them if I'm not hearing from them. Hey, is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. I'm having a great time. Okay, great, good. And then when they come back, I have them review everything in their journal. I have them review their thought processes, their mindsets, where they were in the beginning, and evaluate that, analyze that. How do they feel now? How did they feel on the trip? And then my slogan is, everyone should solo travel at least twice in their life.
Yes. Yeah. What if my first solo trips were to Cancun? Of course, it was amazing. It was Cancun. But yes, twice, because what if you go and it's not amazing and it has nothing to do with solo travel? It's just, I went to Paris and it was underwhelming for me. I love that. Twice. Do you find that most people are pleasantly surprised at how much fun they have?
Yes. They're like, oh, I can do it. Yes, you can. Now let's do it again.
Let's do it again. I love that. Let's
do it again. So, because when you do it the second time, number one, you've done it. You've overcome that fear of the unknown, right? I mean, if you go to Paris and then you go to Botswana, I mean, if you go on a safari, those are two completely different experiences. But what's the same thing is that you're going by yourself. You're like, I've done this myself before.
It's a confidence. It gives you, as a young woman, I started traveling when I was 22, I think, by myself, internationally. And it just gave me so much more confidence to speak up, because nobody else was going to say anything. It was just me. And it really, I don't know, I started to go further and further and further.
Yeah. So the whole point is to help people build confidence through solo travel.
I love that. What do you want people to take away from this chapter in Worldschoolers? What do you want them to think, to feel when they finish it?
That kids can learn anywhere.
Yeah.
People, I mean, I was learning while I was there with her, I want to learn. I want to travel the world, and I'm going to take her with me. Kids will learn. Just give them, they will ask questions naturally. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about it all the time. They're natural learners. They have a natural curiosity. They will always ask questions. And you can help them find the answers, right? Like, we always get tired of, like, how do you spell this? Go look it up in the dictionary.
Oh, yes, right.
Just tell me. But the whole point is for you to learn how to look it up, right? So what I really want for them is to take away is that, I understand, like, there are rules in some school districts, especially in America, your child has to attend a school for a certain number of
Right.
days, absences and whatever, stuff like
Mhm.
that. There are rules. And, we have to abide by those. And if you want to take your child on a trip and they are out of school, at certain ages, they have more and more work that they're going to have to catch up on. The first week of kindergarten, which is when we went on our cruise, she had to learn the rules and learn everybody's name. That's all they did all week.
I used
But
to
when
teach
she got to
kindergarten, and that's an accurate description of the first week.
yeah, but the third month, like mid-October in 5th grade, might be a little more challenging. Probably going to have homework to do on the trip, or do something. You can't fall behind in the math, can't fall behind in science, stuff like that. Reading books, whatever. You just have to work it out with the teacher. If they're attending a public school, or even a private school, whatever school they're attending. But then eventually, if you can find ways to have an income and travel with your child, there are all kinds of ways to teach them, for them to learn, and you will find ways to help them get the education they need, especially when they hit a certain point. Like if Michaela ends up wanting to be an aeronautical engineer, I've done calculus, but it's been
I'll go on
7
OutSchool.
years.
I'll go buy classes on OutSchool. I'm not relearning algebra again.
But there are ways, but there's also really neat opportunities, like, maybe a bakery in Paris will let you have a backdoor tour. We can go through the kitchen, and whatever your child's interests are, you will find ways, especially in this world schooling community, where there are people from all over the world, everywhere. So like someone might actually be home in Paris, and they happen to have a friend who has a bakery, and you can go there with them, or you have someone who's been to Paris 500 times, and you guys meet up and they help show you around, whatever. There's so many different ways to connect with people in the world schooling community, that you will find ways and answers to help your child get the education that they need to have the adult life that they want.
It reminds me of, did you ever use couch surfing?
I've heard of it. I have not done it.
It kind of reminds me of couch surfing. Couch surfing was a platform where you would literally go, sometimes it was a bed, but you would go stay on someone's couch.
Yeah.
But the whole idea was social. So they would show you around the city, and I hosted and I stayed in a couple of places. And I feel like the world schooling community is very much like that. Like, you have a friend, you don't even know the person. You know them online, but now you have a friend in California who's like, yeah, come stay with us. Come hang out with us.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very cool. I like that. I have some follow-up questions.
Mm-hmm.
You wrote about taking a cruise, and you know that there are some people, they judge, right? They say like a cruise is not real travel. It's not really traveling if you're not going internationally. Like, people have all these standards that, if you stay in a resort, that's not real travel. What do you think about cruises? Do you think they're real travel? And how do you respond to people who think they aren't?
Well, travel is just going away from home. You're going over a certain distance for a certain length of time. It's not like if you live in Dallas and you drive to Fort Worth to go to a specific mall and come back. That's not really travel, right?
It's a commute. Yeah.
Well, it might take you all day, but like if you were to go to Fort Worth because you wanted to go to the rodeo, and you spend all weekend, you stay at a hotel and all that kind of stuff because you wanted to stay, that's travel, even though you go from Dallas to Fort Worth. You're going away from home for a certain amount of time, most likely spending the night. So add all of your stuff to that. Oh, that's not really travel. You haven't traveled until you've wandered around Botswana by yourself, whatever. Okay, sure. That's your standard. I feel like even if I didn't get off the cruise ship, as a matter of fact, a friend of mine, bless her heart, she and her infant son are on a cruise ship down to Mexico and with their families, like a big family group.
Mhm.
And she and her son have COVID. They
Oh
tested positive on like the
no.
second day or something.
Oh no.
So they're isolated. They upgraded them to a balcony suite, so they can at least have some outside air, all this kind of stuff. And so she's looking at the ports from her balcony, all these people getting off, going, on shore.
How sad is that?
But she's still traveling. She's spending time by herself. She's making the most of it. Even though she's locked in her room on a cruise ship, she's looking outside. She went somewhere. She knows where she is. She's having a completely different experience than everybody else on the ship who's going to the spa, and the kids are going to all the kid activities, and people are going offshore. Everyone's going to have their own unique experience and their own unique adventure. Even if you're locked in a room, you can choose to make the most of it.
Very
so
much
I feel
mindset.
a cruise ship. We went to the Bahamas and we went to Jamaica. We went off, on shore. In the Bahamas, we did nothing but stay in the water all day.
The pictures are beautiful that you put in your chapter.
What?
The pictures that you put in your chapter were beautiful.
Oh, thank you. My iPhone. But it's just. But I let Michaela explore and you could read my chapter. All the things that she did just in the Bahamas. I didn't even talk really about the amazing things in Jamaica that we did, or the fun adventures that we had on the ship, or me just sitting there lounging around and watching her go from the pool to the slide and back down. Like the slide was like I was in the middle of the ship and the slide was all the way over there at the backside of the ship, whatever that's called. Mm-hmm. Right. And I had to trust that she would be okay. Just put her in hot pink bathing suits.
I saw that.
Her. So to me, it's travel. You go somewhere for an experience. If I were to go from Dallas to Fort Worth because I wanted to experience something that I hadn't experienced before, even though I've been to Fort Worth a million times, that's still travel. You're still having an adventure. You're still experiencing it. So staying in your hometown and going to the museum, it's not really travel, but you're still getting an experience and you're still learning.
There are people, I have seen people that do like tourist activities. Like I grew up outside Philadelphia. I haven't been to anywhere in Philadelphia compared to people that visit. Yeah. And I have seen people that they go and do like the tourist thing in their own town or their own city.
So. Yeah. Some people have, never seen the Liberty Bell and they live right there. And I was like,
we had a field trip in school. So that's why I saw it.
Yeah, like, didn't you go on any field trips? When I lived in Florida, and I lived on Merritt Island where Kennedy Space Center is. Mm-hmm. And I was picking up my son from school and standing around with all the other moms waiting for school to be let out. And I overheard, I was trying not to eavesdrop, but I just overheard one of the moms say that they had never been to the beach. And it was literally a 5-minute bus ride.
All the time here in Veracruz. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? You live right here.
Yeah, they've never left the island. They've never been to the mainland. They've never been to the beach. They've always stayed right there. And I'm like, why?
That is so sad.
Okay.
So I have one more question for you.
I'm sorry?
I have one more question for you. So if people haven't read your other books, you had this amazing solo trip to Scotland, right? Like your bucket list trip to Scotland. Yes. And you're a big proponent of, I don't want to say single parent, solo parent travel, mm-hmm. which I am too, mom or dad, everyone needs a break. When was the last time you actually had a solo trip?
That trip in September of 2019 to Scotland.
Wow. And do you have any plan for the future?
Yes and no. I just really want to show Michaela so many things.
Is it because she's a different age compared with before?
I don't know. It might have to do with age, or it might just have to do with, I don't know. I just want her to go with me. I feel like if I went on my dream trip to Botswana and went on, like a really nice safari and stayed in, I don't want to describe it all, but anyway, I would be like, oh, Michaela should be here with me.
Like she would love it, right?
She would love these animals.
Yeah.
She would love the people, whatever. And I've been thinking of what solo trip would I do, but I think probably like a wellness retreat, where I could spend a lot of time in meditation, a lot of time like spas and massages,
That makes
mud
sense.
baths, all of it, sitting in the lagoon, like went to Iceland. Michaela, I believe, is too young to go to the lagoon. I don't know the rules or how hot it actually is. But things like that I would need to do by myself. I would like to do that kind of getaway. I really did enjoy touring Edinburgh. Bless you. Edinburgh all by myself for 5 days and still didn't see everything. It was amazing.
And still didn't see everything. You're like preparing the argument to go back.
Yeah. I've already been like, I'll be back for you. I didn't get to go, but like maybe someplace like Paris, and maybe do a little more of the adult things. But one thing I really love about the Worldschooling group, my friend Rachel hosts a lot of pop-ups, and they're teenagers, and a couple of other parents that I've met too. They're teens, just really love Michaela and a lot of the other little kids, and they didn't mind watching her for me so that I could have some me time.
Sarah said the same exact thing just a couple hours ago. I talked with her, and she said like the 14, 15-year-old teenagers at the World School Hub were like very mature, and they were happy to really lend a hand with the younger kids.
Yeah. And that's where you just really have to trust your intuition, right? Because you only sort of know these people, and you're in a foreign country, and you want to go, eat a sandwich with another mom, by yourself, or something like that, or you want to go get a massage, or something like that. So you just really have to trust your intuition always. But I don't know. I think probably a wellness retreat somewhere in Europe would be amazing.
Okay.
I need to look. We'll see.
Yeah,
now.
I had to think. There's a lot of countries.
Write it down in my book.
Yeah,
I have a list.
The list. I want to see that book one day. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I know it's late. Is there anything that you want to say before we go? Do you want to tell people how they can find you if they want to work with you?
I believe you're going to post my link tree that has everything in it. Yeah, have several different websites: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I have a blog that I don't post very often on. But I've been writing books, so
yes, blogs are too much work. A book is forever. I have
yes, and I am thinking of writing an independent book.
Yes, you should. I have two of the books. Your two other books. I just ordered. Yeah, I just ordered the Worldschoolers one today, but since I'm in Mexico, it's going to take like 3 weeks. But
yeah. I can't wait to get my Worldschooler books to go, right, and hopefully do some promotions at libraries.
Yes, we will talk about that because there's the whole ISBN and the code and the barcode and everything like that, and we will talk about that. And even one of the other authors brought up to me that there's a bookstore in the Philippines that it would be much cheaper for them to print it there than to send it. So we're looking into some really cool options for it.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So anyway,
power of a group.
So just in parting, I just really want people to travel and experience something away from home. Even if it's only a couple hours away, just go out and see something different. Go to a different grocery store, and take your kids with you. Let them see you navigate a new place. Let them experience someplace new. And additionally, take time for yourself.
Easier said than done.
Somewhere else. Spend the night somewhere else away from your kids so that you can recharge and relax and just breathe for a minute, Solo travel.
Yes, solo travel. I'm already, since Charlie's in Mexico City by himself, because I'm like, go, 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 go. Because in my head, I'm going, ooh, where am I going to go? Because now it's my
Yeah.
turn.
Turn.
My turn.